Hello children, welcome back to the mathematics class. So now, today we shall discuss about the circles. The new chapter, it is a new chapter, but the concepts of the circles already you have learnt. You have been learning since so many years about the learning every year. This year also you are having a part of the circles and its properties and the tangents, secants, and how to construct the tangents from an external point and other things. So let us recall all those things what you have learned in the previous years about the circles. Okay, first, the basic knowledge about the circles we shall discuss now. So first of all, here you see a circle is a plane figure formed by closed curve whose points are at constant points are at a constant distance from a fixed point. Points are, you write it here, points are at a constant distance from a fixed point. Or we can also define the circle as a circle is a collection of all points in a plane which are at a constant distance from a fixed point. Here you see a circle is nothing but the collection of all the points which are at constant distance or which are at the same distance from a fixed point. We call it as the circle. Okay. So you see here it is nothing but it is a plane figure. First of all, okay. So the perimeter, the length of the whole length of this circle, we call it as a circumference of the circle. What you call this as? The length of this circle or perimeter of the circle is called circumference of the circle. Usually the circumference of the circle is denoted by the symbol C. Clear, children? You see, it is a collection of all the points. How many points we can put here? Uncountable number of points we can put, but all the points which are at equal distance from a fixed point, that we call it as the circle. Okay. Here, the fixed point that we call it as center of the circle. Here, usually the center of the circle is denoted by the symbol O. Clear, children? Okay. A fixed point is called the center of the circle. It is denoted by the symbol O. Clear? Next, the distance between the center to any point on the circle, that means the constant distance what we said. Here you see this constant distance, the distance between the center to any point on the circle is called the radius of the circle. That is, the constant distance is called the radius of the circle. Clear? So usually the radius of the circle is denoted by the symbol R. Denoted by symbol small r. Okay. But in a circle, how many radii can be drawn? Radii is a plural form of radius. Okay. So how many radii can be drawn in a circle? Any number of radii can be drawn in a circle. Innumerable number of radii can be drawn in a circle. One thing you have to remember, all radii of a circle are of equal length. Clear, children? So any number of radii can be drawn in a circle. All radii of a circle are of equal length. That you have to remember. All radii of a circle are of equal length. Okay. The line segment joining any 2 points on the circumference of a circle is called the chord of a circle. Chord of a circle. Okay. You see here is a circle with the center O. A and B are the 2 points on the circle. So the line segment joining A and B, that is AB line segment, is called the chord of a circle, chord of the circle. Here you see how many chords can be drawn in a circle. Here also any number of chords can be drawn in a circle, but one thing you have to remember, only the chords which are at equidistant from the center are equal. Chords which are at equal distance from the center are equal. Clear, children? So, out of all the chords that can be drawn in a circle, the chord that passes through the center of a circle, we call it as diameter of a circle. The chord that passes through the center of the circle is called the diameter of the circle. So usually the diameter of a circle is denoted by the symbol D. Diameter is denoted by the symbol D. So tell me how many diameters can be drawn in a circle. As in the case of the radii, so any number of radii can be drawn in a circle. In the same manner, diameters also, you can draw any number, innumerable number of diameters can be drawn in a circle. In a circle, you see this. One thing you have to remember, all diameters of equal length. All diameters are of equal length. Clear, children? So, children, now in a circle any number of diameters can be drawn, as you have studied. All diameters of a circle are of equal length. All diameters of a circle are of equal length, as you know that. So one more thing you have to remember here. Diameter of a circle is twice the radius of a circle. Diameter of a circle is twice of its radius. Therefore, we can write it as diameter is twice the radius. This can be denoted as D is equal to 2R, twice the radius. Here, one more thing you have to remember here, the circumference of a circle is directly proportional to the diameter. That means, as the length of the circle increases, the diameter also increases. As the length of the circle decreases, the diameter also decreases. So diameter is directly proportional to the circumference, or circumference is directly proportional to the diameter. Circumference is directly proportional to the circumference. That can be expressed as C is proportional to D. This is the sign of proportionality. So we have to write it like this. Okay? It is a sign of proportionality. Okay? So if you remove this proportionality sign, so we have to take a constant, that means, see children here, if I send this to this left hand side, that is equal to C by D is always constant. C by D is always constant. This constant is denoted by the symbol pi. That is, symbol is pi. So that's what we can write this one as C is equal to pi D. C is equal to pi D. That is, C is equal, but what it is, D is equal to 2 twice the radius, isn't it? Therefore, in place of d, if I substitute 2r, how can we write this? C is equal to pi into 2r. Or if we rearrange the terms, we can write it as C is equal to 2 pi r, where pi is called the proportionality constant and the value of pi is approximately equal to 22 by 7, or approximately it is 3.14 something. So for the calculation purpose, we use these two values, that is 22 by 7, it is approximately equal to the value of 22 by 7, or 3.142, like that it will use. So it is also approximately, not exactly, approximately equal to pi. Clear, children? Now, so a chord, if I draw a chord in a circle, a chord divides the circle into two parts. A chord divides the circle into two parts. They are called arcs of a circle, arcs of the circle. Clear, children? Here, see, the chord, if it is not a diameter, divides the circle into two unequal arcs. Unequal arcs. You will write it as arcs. Unequal arcs. Unequal arcs. Okay. So the larger arc, here you see in a circle, AB is a chord. So that divides into two arcs, that is AXB is one arc and AYB is another arc. Here AXB is smaller than the arc AYB. So here you see the larger arc is called major arc. Here AYB is a major arc. The smaller arc is called minor arc. Here compared to this AYB, AXB is the smaller, hence this arc we call it as minor arc. The smaller arc is called minor arc. Okay. So see, children, the arcs which constitute a circle, arcs which constitute a circle is called conjugate arcs. The two arcs which form a circle, that we call it as conjugate arcs. Okay. So next part is, so if I draw that, if I join the chord, then what happens? The region it will form. The region bounded by an arc and a chord is called segment. You see, suppose here if you draw a chord like this, so this region is bounded by the arc and the chord, that we call it as, that region we call it as segment. Here also, as there are two arcs are there, one is major arc, another one is minor arc. In the same manner, depending upon the type of the arc that forms a segment, we name them indifferently. That is, the region bounded by the chord and the major arc is called major segment. What we call it as major segment. Major segment is the region bounded by major arc and the chord. Clear, children? As here it is in the figure, you can easily find this, the region bounded by the major arc and the chord, hence this region we call it as major segment. Similarly, you see in next one, the region bounded by the chord and yes, minor arc. A chord and the minor arc is called the minor segment. What we call it as minor segment. In this figure you see AXB is a minor arc, therefore the region bounded by AXBA is a minor segment of the circle. Understood, children? Okay, take down. Here you see, children, If the chord is a diameter, then divides the circle into two equal arcs. That means each part is a semicircle. A chord is a diameter, then it exactly passes through the center of the circle, then it divides the circle into two equal halves. That is, each one we call it as semicircle. Then the segment we call it as semicircular region. The segment we call it as semicircular region. Understood, children? So, next, come to the point. Next point. Equal chords of a circle are equidistant from the center. So, suppose there are two chords are there, namely here AB and CD. To say that AB is equal to CD, then the distance between OP must be equal to the distance between OQ. Clear, children? So, if the chord AB is equal to chord CD, then the distance between them from the center, that is OP, must be equal to OQ. That's what you say, that equal chords of a circle are equidistant from the center. If the distance are not equal from the center, then the chords are unequal in length. Clear, children? So next, it is very important point here. So the perpendicular drawn from the center to the chord bisects the chord. Remember here, O is the center of the circle. Okay. Here OP is a perpendicular drawn to the chord AB. AB is a chord, OP is a line segment drawn from the center to the chord. It is perpendicular to the chord. Then if that is the case, that is OP exactly divides AB into two equal halves. Clear, children? That is, OP is perpendicular to AB. That means AP is equal to BP. Understood, children? So we can say that suppose AP is equal to BP is equal to L length, L centimeter, then AB is equal to 2L units. 2L units. Understood, children? Next, congruent circles. What do you mean by congruent? As you know that already, two congruent. Congruent means whenever they are placed one over the other, every part of one exactly coincides with the other. So then we call it as congruent. Here, congruent circles. That means here the circles having the same radii but different centers are called congruent circles. You see here in the figure, A, B and C are the centers. They are different centers. But the radius, if you take OP, radius of the first circle is equal to BQ, that is radius of the second circle, that is equal to CR, that is the radius of the third circle. That means the radii of all the circles are equal. Hence, we call these circles are congruent. Suppose you take these circles and you place it one over the other, just like a 1 rupee coin. If you take 3 1 rupee coin of same size, place it one over the other, exactly the circle coincides with each other. Clear, children? So they are the congruent, they are the examples of congruent circles. Next, concentric circles. Concentric means the circles which are having same center. The circles having the same center but different radii are called concentric circles. Here you see the three circles are drawn here, that is with the center O is common to all the three circles, that is the radius of the circle, that is OA is the radius of the first circle, its radius is R1, OB is the radius of the second circle, let it be denoted as R2, and OC is the radius of the third circle, let it be R3. Then you see, children, here OA is smaller than OB is smaller than OC. That means the radius of the first circle is smaller than the radius of the second circle, smaller radius, second circle radius is smaller than the third circle radius. But all the three are having the same center. Hence, we call these circles are as concentric circles. Clear, children? Okay, you take down, children. Hello, children. Till now we have brushed up the things what you have learned in the previous classes. Okay. Now we shall discuss the next topic of this chapter, that is secant and tangent. Okay. You see, children, here. So there are two figures are there. Look at these figures. So in these figures you can find a circle and a line segment or straight line. Okay. A circle and a straight line here. So look at this in the figure 1. You can find that the circle and the straight line, they are separate each other. That means they are not touching each other, they are not intersecting each other, they are separate, isn't it? Look at this in this second figure. In the figure 2, that is a straight line is intersecting the circle at two places, at A and B, isn't it? So next, then the third figure, look at this, what is there, how the straight line and the circle are there. So the circle and the straight line, they are just touching each other, they are intersecting at only one point. Look at these, children. So how can we say that? Here you see in the figure 1, they are non-intersecting, that is non-intersecting line with respect to the circle. With respect to the circle, the straight line is a non-intersecting. Means there is no contact between the straight line and the circle, non-intersecting figures or not. Okay, look at this in the second one. So what happens here? The straight line, that is PQ, intersects the circle at A and B. At A and B, there are 2 points. So therefore, here PQ is called the secant of the circle. Secant of the circle. Look at in the case of the third figure. Here, the straight line PQ touches the circle at only one point, that is at R, isn't it? So here we call this straight line, which is just touching the circle or meeting the circle or intersecting the circle at only one point, is called tangent to the circle. Tangent to the circle at R. Okay, children. So these are the three different figures or distinguish you what do we call them as. That is, one is the tangent, it is the secant, and they are non-intersecting each other. Okay. So if that is the case, how can you define a secant? A secant is nothing but a straight line which intersects the circle at two distinct points, called the secant. A straight line which intersect a circle at two distinct points is called secant. Next, then what do you mean by tangent? A tangent to a circle. A tangent to a circle is a line, is a straight line that intersects the circle at only one point. That point where it touches the circle or meets the circle or intersects the circle, we call it as point of contact. Then what do you mean by point of contact? The point where the tangent touches the circle is called point of contact. Here, this we call it as tangent, and this point we call it as point of contact. Point of contact. Okay, children. Yes, look at this in the figure. You can say that AB is a tangent. Is it AB? AB is a tangent where it is touching the circle or intersecting the circle at P. So therefore, AB is a tangent where P is the point of contact. Okay. Now we shall discuss further. Now, children, you see here all these line segments A, B, C, D, E, F, G, H, I, J, and K, L. All these are the line segments, isn't it? So you see, so where they are cutting the circle at two distinct points, that becomes a chord, isn't it? From here to here it is chord. Okay. Here you see the length of the chord cut by the lines will gradually decreases as we move away from the center. You see the length of the chord here, it is, you see here. So as it is, the length of the chord is moves away from the center, or as it is moves towards the circumference of the circle, gradually it decreases and decreases, and finally it comes to a point where the distance between the 2 points of intersection becomes 0. So that means it is a point where the limiting point of the secant becomes 0 or unit. So here this we call it as the secant becomes tangent. You see the length of the chord cut by the line will gradually decrease. The 2 points of intersection of the line and the circle coming closer and closer, they are coming closer and closer. In one case, it becomes 0. The 2 points, the distance between the 2 points become 0. So then the secant becomes tangent. When the secant becomes tangent, the secant becomes tangent when in its limiting point, means when both the point of intersection coincide each other. Clear, children? Now let us see the number of tangents that can be drawn to a circle at a different position of the point. Okay, so the tangents to a circle from a point at different positions. You see, here I have taken the 3 examples here. One, the point is on the circle. Clear? The point is on the circle. And the second case, the point is inside the circle, and in the third case, point is outside the circle, or we can say it is an external point. Clear, children? You see how many tangents can be drawn to a circle at any point on the circle, on a given point on the circle. So there is only one point, there is only one tangent can be drawn to a circle at this point. It is not possible to draw more tangents at this point because there is only one point, isn't it? So therefore only one tangent can be drawn at any point on the circle. That means suppose if they give a point here, somewhere here it is, isn't it? Imagine that. Here at this point also there is only one tangent can be drawn. So it is not possible to draw more than one tangent at any point on the circle. Clear, children? Next, second case, you see the point is inside that. All the line segment that is passes through the point become secant. Hence, it is not possible to draw tangents through the point which is inside the circle. So no tangents can be drawn through the point inside the circle. The third case, you see here, the point is outside, that is an external point. There is no contact between the point and the circle. You see. So here we can draw two tangents, that is PA or PB, or the two tangents. If you try to draw more number of lines, all the lines that can be drawn from the point to the circle, either they go away from the circle or they become secant to the circle, isn't it? They become secant. Hence, from an external point, only two tangents can be drawn. Clear, children? Only two tangents can be drawn from an external point. Clear, children? Okay? Take down, children. So now, after this, we shall discuss the theorems on this. Okay?